is done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kusa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get mad. So nefarious how they don't roll my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regret, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of every
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking straight, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me?
All right, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Hold on, I'm trying to pull my chat up on my phone. All right. All right, hello, we the people. Panther Strike is in the house. All right, Anita Harrell, Deronda is here, Mel. All right, let's get into it. Everybody hit that like button. Okay, 504 Nola is in the house. Broken Silence, where have you been, beloved? The Melanin Matrix is in the house. All right, let's get into it. The lovely T. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators because y'all know they stay put in work. Let's get ready to get into it. Hold on just a second. Okay, let's go. All right. So before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she has a beard oil for men. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about it. Now, Jaylen Brown's father has been charged with attempted murder. Jaylen Brown's dad arrested for attempted murder after apparent parking lot dispute. So Boston Celtics superstar Jaylen Brown's dad, who's former boxer Marcellus Brown, was arrested for attempted murder after allegedly stabbing a youth football coach in a parking lot dispute. Now, this is reported by TMZ. Las Vegas Metro Police is investigating a stabbing that went down at All American Park on Wednesday, stating that two men were in a verbal altercation over a parking space when the suspect stabbed the victim multiple times in the stomach. Is it that serious? Over a parking space? Now, according to the arrest report we obtained, the alleged girlfriend or the victim's girlfriend actually told cops it was over Brown dinging her vehicle with the door of a Lincoln Navigator as he got out of the passenger side. The woman stated that the coach, identified as Cross Tupola, then got out of his car to check out the damage, but Brown brushed it off and said it was simply a bump before calling him a biatch arse and then started to walk away. So, after a back and forth, the woman claims the two agreed to duke it out. And when Topola's back was turned, Brown pulled an object from his right side and swung his arm in a stabbing motion, striking the coach in the back. Now, that's a dirty thing to do. So the woman states that Brown, who's 7 feet tall and weighs 300 pounds, by the way, used his left hand to grab Topola's right shoulder and stabbed him several times in the abdomen. She says the coach initially tried to fight back before attempting to run, and Brown chased after him. This is not looking good for him. Now, eventually, the woman said Tupola, who's 5'9" and weighs 160 pounds, got in the car and they drove off to call 911. According to the report, he suffered stab wounds in the upper right chest clavicle area, a defensive wound on his left hand that penetrated his tendons, a slice wound that necessitated a partial gastrectomy. Hold on. Let me put on my glasses. Hold on, guys. Gastrectomy to remove part of his digestive system. It eviscerated his bowels and a broken right rib that may require surgery to repair. Like he literally tried to kill this darn man over a parking lot dispute. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Night Rider said that doesn't even sound right. Well, it sounds nefarious. That's how it sounds like. He sounds crazy. Who does all of this? He did serious damage, and he's 7 feet tall and weighs 300 pounds at least. Now, when cops caught up with Brown, they observed abrasions on his knees and his face. Okay, his face was bleeding, and spontaneously stated the whole ordeal was sparked over a door ding. Brown also received treatment at the hospital for a broken toe, scraped knees, and an abrasion on his right cheek. Now, officials also spoke with several witnesses who claimed they saw the whole thing, and one even graphically claimed that he could see the victim's, oh my God, his insides hanging out when he lifted the front of his shirt. He literally disemboweled this darn man. This is sick. What in the hell is wrong with him? Several witnesses. Now, this is my first time reading this because OG Patrice sent me this before I went live. It's absolutely crazy. Several witnesses also state Brown did not act in self-defense and struck Tupola first. According to the report, the weapon used in the incident was not recovered. There is blood all over the back of this car, like blood spatter all over the back of this vehicle. I'll show you in a second. They say we've obtained pictures from the scene showing blood spattered on the cars that were parked near the altercation. Marcellus, who made his boxing debut in 1989, had a 33-18-1 record with 25 knockouts in the ring, and his last fight was nearly a decade ago. Our sources tell us that Jaylen doesn't have a close relationship with his father and was unaware of the arrest or incident. Jaylen, 28, is one of the best players in the NBA and won a championship with the Celtics in 2024. In 2016, Marcellus opened up about his kids, saying, I'm extremely proud of both of my sons. I'm especially proud of Jaylen. He's an extraordinary athlete and very smart. Well, you're not that smart, sir. Who does all of this over a darn parking door ding? Pay attention. This is all so gross. Now, look at that. Y'all see that blood spatter? Okay, my two love said he's a bona fide sicko, clearly. Okay. Ugh, this is awful. Mel said he might as well kiss his freedom goodbye, and he needs to. Anyone who would do something so heinous over something so small, and it was nothing mentioned about self-defense, yeah, he needs to be off the streets. He needs to be off the darn streets. What in the world is wrong with him? Honey, I have several questions. Prayers for that man's speedy recovery. That is awful. Can you imagine someone stabbing you to your disemboweled, eviscerated bowel? That's what that was. Oh my God. This is all just crazy. Let me tell you something. See, this is why you have to stay strapped, people. This is why would he get that mad? This is why you have to stay strapped to protect and defend yourself. There's a bunch of psychopaths and sociopaths roaming these streets. Demons cloaked in human flesh, because he clearly sounds like a whole demon, in my opinion. Okay? In my opinion. Now, let's talk about Apollonia. If you all remember Apollonia from Purple Rain with Prince, of course, let's talk about it, because she's suing Prince's estate. Hold on, guys. I forgot to put this phone on Do Not Disturb. Give me just a second, please. So anyway, she's suing Prince's estate. So let's get into it. Actually, that phone is on Do Not Disturb, and it's ringing anyway. That's crazy. Okay, so Purple Rain star Apollonia sues Prince's estate. Now, Patty Cotero, who played the girlfriend of Prince's The Kid in the 1984 film, is seeking definitive ownership of the stage name that she has used for 4 decades. And so that name is Patty Apollonia Cotero, who played Apollonia in Prince's 1984 film Purple Rain, and continued performing under that character's name for decades. She's now suing the late singer's estate, Paisley Park Enterprises, over ownership of her stage name. So the performer filed a complaint in the California District Court on Tuesday, requesting the cancellation of Paisley Park's pending applications for the Apollonia name, and is also seeking an injunction to stop the estate from interfering in the use of her stage name. Now, for more than 40 years, Miss Cotero, the actress, singer, songwriter, producer, and entertainer, has been known as Apollonia. This is what it says in her complaint, which has been reviewed by Entertainment Weekly. In fact, she says Prince himself consented to and encouraged Apollonia in her professional endeavors as Apollonia. Well, I didn't even know this woman was still performing, quite frankly. Now, Dan Sislow, an attorney for Cotero, expressed his confidence in a brief statement to EW, saying, "Our client fully expects to prevail in protecting her name." They say they reached out to Paisley Park for comment. Prince's estate called Cotero's lawsuit frivolous and unwarranted in a statement on the late singer's Instagram on Thursday, saying, as she acknowledges, Apollonia is the name Prince gave to the character played by Miss Cotero in Prince's movie Purple Rain over 40 years ago. Now, they say we never instructed her to cease using her adopted professional name, nor did we object to her business activities. In fact, we repeatedly offered her opportunities to perform at Paisley Park using this professional name. Now, the estate also claimed that Cotero's suit fails to acknowledge the cancellation of her Apollonia registration with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and said that Paisley Park has sought a settlement with Cotero on more than one occasion. They say, we look forward to the rulings in the pending trademark proceedings and a dismissal of Ms. Cotero's recent federal action. As is our duty, we will continue to protect and preserve Prince's assets and his legacy. Now, the dispute comes in the wake of Purple Rain receiving a stage musical adaptation, which is set to premiere in Minneapolis, Minnesota in October before making its way to Broadway. Now, Rachel Webb is set to play Apollonia in the show. Oh, so that's why she's doing this. She doesn't want them to be able to use it in that stage play, obviously, or she wants to be paid if it is. Now, in the complaint, Cotero's attorneys claim that she filed a trademark application on October the 3rd of 2016, as well as 3 additional trademark applications in subsequent years. All of the goodwill associated with the name and trademark Apollonia for the past 4 decades is attributable to plaintiff, according to the document. Therefore, to protect her brand, Ms. Cotero owns several Apollonia trademark applications and registrations. Now, the complaint also causes Paisley Park, or accuses Paisley Park, of an aggressive campaign that is attempting to cancel Apollonia's trademark registrations and block her applications based on the contention that she is not the rightful owner. Cotero's attorneys argue that these allegations from Prince's estate threaten to disrupt not only Apollonia's livelihood, but also her identity, including interfering with Apollonia's relationships with her industry partners. Cotero began her career credited as Patty Cotero in small appearances on television shows like Chips, Fantasy Island, and Knight Rider. After playing Apollonia in Purple Rain in 1984, she has always been credited as either Apollonia Cotero or just Apollonia in subsequent projects, including a 10-episode stint on Falcon Crest, in which her character was also named Apollonia. She also headlined Prince's girl group Apollonia 6 and released a self-titled album, a solo album in 1987. For all of these years, neither Prince himself nor anyone on Prince's behalf demanded that Apollonia cease using the name Apollonia or contended that the name did not belong to her either personally or professionally, according to the complaint. Defendant will not stop in its efforts to acquire all things related to Prince, even though it has no legal right to do so. And for many years, Prince himself did not act to obtain such things. Cotero recently launched a podcast titled Apollonia Studio 6 in 2022. Joe Coy, Gabrielle Iglesias, and Jill Jones have been among the show's guests. Okay, so what do y'all think? Do y'all think she has grounds to stand? I have questions. What do you all think about that? Knight Rider said applications just means she applied. That doesn't give her ownership. Panther Strike said, was she written in the script as Apollonia? Was her name created by Prince? Yes, the name was created by Prince. It was created by Prince. And I do believe that that name is somewhere in the Bible, if I'm not mistaken. I think it may have been the name of a place or something. But yeah, I always thought that was her real name. I've always known her to identify by that. I always thought it was her real name. I didn't know that Prince created it, but that's what they're saying, that he created that for her character. I did not know that. All this time, I literally thought that was her name. Well, so do you guys think they should give it to her? What do y'all think? That she should get to keep it or his estate should get to keep ownership of it? Now, if Prince never said anything in 40 years, I'm sorry. It's given that Prince didn't care that she was using it. That's my opinion. Okay? But anyway, before we get into this whole thing about the NFL with their nefarious racist selves, let's talk about Russia. Because do you all know that Russia struck a U.S. factory in Ukraine? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that? Pearlie said, I heard that before, Queen. He created it. I said, I never knew, honey. I had no idea. Okay, we the people said, me too. The lovely T said, I did too. Okay. Panther Strike says, Prince's estate should keep it, but he never put restrictions on Apollonia, I guess. I did too, Queen. I always thought that was her name. Yeah, I thought that was her legal name. That's interesting. I thought he called her that in the movie because that was her real name. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about Russia, honey, because they have dropped airstrikes on a U.S. factory in Western Ukraine. And guess what? Y'all's president didn't say anything. Where are you, Trump? See, didn't I tell y'all that Trump was Putin's bitch? Didn't I tell y'all that? Isn't that a Greek goddess's name? I don't know. I thought I saw it in the Bible, but I know that came from somewhere. Let me look it up real quick. Good question. It probably is Greek, now that you mention it. It's in the Bible, just like I thought. It's a city. It's an ancient city in Macedonia on the Via Ignatia. I think that's how you say it, on the Via Ignatia. Yeah. The name appears in the Bible as the name of an ancient city. I read the Bible a lot, and I know a lot about the Bible, so I absolutely remembered reading that as being a place in the Bible. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about Putin, honey, because Trump, where are you? Why aren't you saying anything? Y'all hear the crickets? Do y'all hear the crickets? Mm-hmm. Ah. Nene said Trump is embarrassed. He knows Putin doesn't respect his orange arse. Of course, Putin doesn't respect him. Okay, he runs all over him. I told y'all, Putin's running game on Trump. Okay, while Trump is misleading Zelensky. Well, now it's all out there in the open. 2 Russian cruise missiles slammed into an American electronics factory in a remote corner of far western Ukraine before dawn on Thursday. This is right after they had the talks about peace. Are y'all listening? I find it so interesting, don't you? Now, they say causing extensive damage and more than a dozen injuries, according to Ukrainian officials. The attack came as Russia carried out one of its largest airstrikes in the war, firing more than 570 drones and 40 missiles in an overnight barrage. Do y'all think Putin really wants peace? Of course not. He's getting down even harder than he was before. Okay? This is the worst airstrike ever. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky was hiding under a rock. Just kidding. But anyway, he was one of several officials who took to social media to report the airstrike, saying at least 15 people were wounded. In his post on the Telegram messaging app, Zelensky called it an ordinary civilian enterprise, an American investment. They produce such familiar household items as coffee machines. The Ukrainian leader went on to say that the Russian military delivered this strike as if nothing had changed at all, as if there were no efforts by the world to stop this war. Honey, Putin gives 0 Fs. Okay, I think we should all know that by now. Putin gives 0 Fs. All right? That's just what it is. Now, Andriy Sabiha posted saying, contrary to all efforts to end the war, Russia undertook a massive combined airstrike on Ukraine overnight. Hundreds of drones, hypersonic, ballistic, and cruise missiles on civilian and energy infrastructure. One of the missiles struck at a major American electronics facility. Now, the company that was hit, Flex, produces civilian electronics components and products with more than 100 offices and factories worldwide. The company was founded in the U.S. It's listed on NASDAQ and has headquarters in both Austin, Texas, and Singapore. Flex did not immediately respond to emails seeking comment. Videos on social media show thick black smoke rising from the company's plant in the town of Mukachevo, near the border with Hungary. Some 600 workers were on the job when the missile struck right before 5 a.m. This is according to Miroslav Biletsky, head of the regional military administration. Before the attack, they heeded the air raid sirens and took cover in secure areas. Okay, this is what he noted, or the casualty toll would have been much higher, they say. He said about 1/3 of the massive plant was burned to the ground, saying this enterprise exclusively produced household appliances. It never produced any military equipment, he says, adding that Flex had been operating at the site since 2012. Saying Russia continues to destroy and humiliate U.S. businesses in Ukraine, targeting companies that invest and trade on the U.S. stock markets. This is what Andy Hunter, the president of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine, wrote on Twitter or X. He said the factory was one of the largest U.S. investments in Ukraine by a private company. Russia did not say why the plant was targeted. Russia attacks Western Ukraine less frequently than other areas, but the region was the focus of Russia's overnight barrage of hundreds of drones and missiles. Ukraine's military said it shot down most of the incoming weapons, but some managed to get through. One civilian was killed in Lviv, the largest city in Western Ukraine, according to the military. The Russian strikes come just days after President Trump met separately with Zelensky in Washington and Russia's President Vladimir Putin in Alaska in an attempt to launch peace negotiations. Let me tell you something. Trump is a fool. Okay? Trump is a whole fool. Because here's the thing. He should know darn well that Putin doesn't want any peace. He should know that because by the simple fact that Putin doesn't even want to sit down in the presence of Zelensky. That's why he had to meet them both in separate places. Okay? That should have told Trump right there. But Trump is scared of Putin, like I told you all. He's Putin's bitch. All right? This proves it. So, with that all being said, Trump has instructed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Air Force General Dane Kane, to work on plans for security guarantees for Ukraine. However, any U.S. role would likely be limited to some form of air support. Trump has made clear he doesn't want U.S. troops on the ground in Ukraine, even as peacekeepers after the war ends. Yeah, because he knows that Putin would probably have them killed. And then Trump would have to explain that he doesn't want to go to war with Russia. That's what he doesn't want to do. Ooh, honey, this is all getting drastic, y'all. Kane has been talking to counterparts in European countries. Some European states say that they could send troops at some point in the future, but the talks are still in a preliminary stage as the war rages on. Ukrainians, meanwhile, believe Putin is still determined to carry on with the fighting. Well, of course. Ukrainians want Western security guarantees, but many say they should be ironclad. I think we should let Ukraine fend for themselves. I strongly continue to believe that the only solution is NATO membership for Ukraine. Now, this is what Oleksandr Merakov, a member of the Ukrainian parliament who heads the Foreign Affairs Committee, said, saying this would stop the war. This would stop Putin's aggression because Putin is afraid of only one thing, and that's NATO. I frankly don't think Putin's afraid of anything, if I'm just being honest. Many Ukrainians share this position. Ukraine was initially promised a path to NATO membership in 2008, but there's been no real progress since, and Trump says it won't happen in the current environment. Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, has spoken of a guarantee that could resemble NATO's Article 5, which says an attack on one is an attack on all. But Ukraine has had limited security promises in the past, and that hasn't stopped Russia from invading twice, first in 2014 and again on a much larger scale in 2022. Russia remains staunchly opposed to Western troops in Ukraine. Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov reiterated the country's position Wednesday, saying Russia should have veto power over security guarantees for Ukraine. That would effectively make any such guarantees absolutely meaningless. Now, despite the recent flurry of diplomatic activity, neither Russia nor Ukraine has indicated a willingness to make major concessions. At the present moment, the interests, positions, and stances of Ukraine and Russia are diametrically opposed, and they cannot be reconciled. This is what Merakov, the member of Ukrainian's parliament, said. Ooh, what do you all have to say about that? Trump hasn't said a word. Trump hasn't said one darn word. Okay? Hasn't said a darn thing. American Isness says we have to forget Ukraine just bombed Russia when they just tried to ceasefire. I really don't care about Ukraine, like I told you all before, and still continue to say. Says Zelensky needs to hold its own nuts. His problems is not my American problem. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I said that 2 years ago. Okay? 2 years ago. Okay, Mel said, like you said, Queen, Trump should be impeached. Exactly. What are they waiting on? Okay, what are they waiting on? Claudette said he knows better. This is all crazy. Oh, well. It is what it is. Now let's talk about the nefarious NFL, because I'm sure by now you've all heard that Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson has come out and said that the NFL absolutely colluded, conspired. Okay, they got together and said nobody was going to draft Shedeur Sanders. But didn't we already know this? But now we have the evidence to prove it. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Now, I really think that we may have to boycott the NFL pretty soon. I think that we have to boycott the NFL. And I know some of you Negroes are not going to want to do it because y'all love y'all's football. Y'all would even do it, most of you, when Colin Kaepernick was colluded against. And then some of our ignorant people sat there and said that Kaepernick did it for himself. How the hell did he do it for himself? And what did he, in fact, stand to gain? The man lost his entire career. And then people said, oh, he sold out because he took a settlement. How is that selling out again? If you get into a car accident and they offer you close to what you're suing for rather than you facing trial, wouldn't you go ahead and take it? Of course you would, because nobody wants to go to trial if they don't have to, and it could take years for them to even settle. But some of y'all Black folk made that lame arse excuse to justify why you would still support the NFL, even after what they did. Kaepernick was literally kneeling for the lives of Black people. Now, I know that if y'all didn't boycott for that reason, you think you're going to boycott for Shedeur. Some of you Negroes are not going to do it no matter what. And that's what sickens me about our own people. But let's get into it, because I don't need to go on a whole rant.
And I'll tell you this much here: what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
really?
Him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that, because they weren't gonna draft him either. They weren't gonna draft him. They were forced into drafting him because somebody made a call to them, said, you know, and I say, when I say this is a NFL side source for sure, you know. So this is not here. So look, one thing about it is, and I'll just say it, you know, they don't like when guys have brands, especially Black players, you know, and that's mostly us with the brand, you know. We kind of, some guys are flashy and all that kind of stuff. They don't like that. This kid, Fred, I don't think you knew this. He had already made $17 million from a car deal that he already signed. A car deal. He had $17 million already for that. Then he had another 14, I think, from a was it a shoe, Nike or some shoe deal. So he was good with money wise, but I know he wants to play in the National Football League for sure.
So how does he do that? I mean, Cleveland picked him. I find it fascinating, Eric. You're saying somebody even called the Browns and said, don't do that.
Yeah, somebody called the Browns and said.
So what was the objective? He doesn't get picked. He's an undrafted free agent.
That's exactly what's going to happen. They were going to have him, he was not going to get drafted, to basically show you this is what happens when you do this. I mean, look, you know, McFred, the NFL got all kind of power. They do all kind of stuff. You know, you know that, and I know it too. But no, they were not going to draft him. And like I said, when I said it came from a good source, it came from a very, very good source. He said they weren't going to draft him. I like it, because when I saw it, when he went to the second round, I said, oh, I said it out loud. They're not going to draft him. They're going to make an example out of him. I knew it.
Do you think
so the guy that they drafted, the quarterback they drafted ahead of him, he wasn't as good as Shedeur. He even said it. I mean, how do you draft a guy that you know that's not better than the guy that you drafted after? That don't even make sense.
Do you think Shedeur knew they wanted to make an example out of him?
I don't think he realized to the extent that the NFL would go to make an example out of him. No, I don't think he knew that. I don't think his dad knew the extent that they would go to make an example out of him. I mean,
that's a darn shame. That is such a shame. It just sickens me. It just really sickens me. These racist devils continue to do the same old. And we continue to sit here idly by and complain, yet do nothing. We don't do anything but talk about it. That's what we don't do. How is it that the NFL has at least 75% Black players? And this is what they get away with. And he's talking about the power they have. What about the power that we have? Or did y'all forget that you have the power? Did y'all forget that? I have several questions. Okay, I have several questions. I seem to think that you all have forgotten the power that we have. And I just keep reminding you all. Remember I told you all about Pastor Jamal Bryant? Pastor Jamal Bryant and the boycott of Target? Let's talk about that again because he was interviewed yesterday. And here's what he had to say. And I'm going to try my best to get in touch with Pastor Jamal Bryant to see if he can lead the charge on a boycott of the NFL. Okay? Because I have a very good friend that interviewed him recently. And I'm going to see if I can get in touch with him and see what he can do about this. Y'all can sit there and play games and twiddle your thumbs if you want to and continue to let the wanton supremacists reign over us, keeping their feet on our necks while we sit here and whine and complain and do nothing. That's what y'all can keep doing. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And the only reason I started back watching the NFL was because of Shedeur Sanders. Because when they did what they did to Colin Kaepernick, I didn't have anything to do with them.
In his first national interview since the big Target news today is Pastor Jamal Bryant. Pastor, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
What role do you think your boycott played in the CEO's decision to step aside now?
This was the most significant boycott of Black people since the Montgomery bus boycott 70 years ago. The stock market stumbled from $145 a share to $93 a share. They lost $12 billion in valuation. The CEO's salary was cut by 42%. Foot traffic was down by 7.9%. So I would say it would be a Herculean part of what happened in the downfall.
Cornell will stay on now as Target's executive chairman, and the new CEO is a 22-year veteran employee of the company, started there as an intern. And I'm wondering what you think that means for the direction this company heads now. Do you think the new CEO is going to change company culture or steer the company in a different direction?
I think we're looking at the moving of peanut shells in Central Park. Is really nothing different about the ideology or their stance on DEI. It's really smoke and mirrors. I am anxious and zealous to see if the new CEO will be open to a meeting so that we can discuss what are the 4 things that we're asking for. But just moving the COO to the CEO is really stylish, but it has no substance.
Exactly.
Does your boycott continue with this news?
Oh, no, we are full steam ahead until those 4 things that we've asked for. Black people spend upwards of $12 million a day. So we've asked for $250 million to be deposited in the Black banks. We've asked for them to show record of the $2 billion they pledged to invest in the Black communities, to partner with 6 HBCUs. And we gave them a blank canvas to reimagine DEI, none of which have they produced. And so, yes, we're staying away from Target until they step up to the plate. If
you could talk to the new Target CEO today, what would you say?
I would say to him that it pays to give dignity where people are giving dollars. Is that what we're looking for is not a favor, but to do business. We're coming and we've not led any protest or march, but it's really been a sojourn of spirituality and social justice, compelling to their higher selves to make the right decision. And by them losing almost 20% of their stock today with the change, it'd be less expensive and a less cost if they would just do right by humanity.
Pastor Bryant, thank you for your time today. Out front.
Okay, y'all heard that. The boycott continues, Target. It ain't over. And American Business says they only retaliated against Target because they took out the trans swimwear. Honey, nobody gives a darn about that. I didn't even know they took it out. At the end of the day, they boycotted Target because of DEI. Okay? And though some of you may feel that DEI benefits other people, well, it does. This is true. But at the end of the day, when they say take away DEI, they're talking about Black folk. That's what they're talking about. Okay? So we the people said when Kaepernick took the knee, we should have started boycotting then. Exactly. Exactly. But you know why y'all didn't? See, I remember going in about this on Facebook back then. The reason Negroes didn't is because they trotted out Jay-Z. Okay, Sean Carter. They brought him out and told you Negroes that he was going to be the person in charge of the entertainment for the NFL. And y'all were like, oh, okay. And I told y'all that Jay-Z is nothing but a sellout because prior to him being given that opportunity and signing that contract, they offered it to Jermaine Dupri 2 years prior. And Jay-Z told Jermaine Dupri not to do it. It's not a good look. But then he goes and does it. And he sat up there with Roger Goodell, patting him on the shoulder like he was a damn dog. But y'all sat there and defended him and told me that I didn't know what I was talking about. That's what some of you Negroes did when I was on Facebook. I wasn't even on YouTube at the time. So at the end of the day, it's all BS, okay? Some of you Negroes is still going to support the NFL because you're more entertained, okay? You're more appreciative of entertainment than justice. You're more into entertainment than stopping your own oppression. That's what most of y'all are. And that's the facts. Not to give a damn who's mad. At the end of the day, some of y'all will continue to do the same old same, and that's why we can never get anywhere. Where the hell are the real revolutionaries? Because I don't see them. Have any of y'all seen them? I'm sorry. Please make it all make sense at the end of the day. But anyway, I don't want to go on a whole rant because this stuff makes me literally sick to my damn stomach. But let's continue. How about wake me up when y'all get sick and tired of being sick and tired? How about wake me up when y'all get sick and tired of racism always winning? When team white supremacy, when you get tired of team white supremacy winning, why don't y'all let me know? Somebody give me a call because I'm over it at this point.
Number 2 role still up for grabs. You guys still competing for that number 2 role?
Number 2 role?
Like number 2 string quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, bro, I really don't look into that. I don't care. Whenever it's time for me to get out there and play, I'm going to play. Whenever it's time for the lights to come on, I'm going to do my thing. I'm not concerned about when it is. I'm not concerned about, how many reps I'm getting at this point is what it is. Because I know when the lights come on, when everything go on, when the pressure's on, you know who I am. And I'm always be that way.
Now, with that all being said, I like how he answered that. I love how he answered that. Okay? At the end of the day, this young man is just so humble, so talented, and so blessed. At the end of the day, the devils, they cannot stand it. You see, their demons, their demonic spirits and energy are so aggravated by his energy. Okay? So aggravated by his spirit. And it's so obvious. It is so obvious. You all saw the GM who's black. He couldn't even bear, he couldn't stand for Shedeur to even touch him the other day. When Shedeur was talking to him, you could see the disdain in his face. Like he is such a raccoon. That's the sad thing of it all. Our own people. This is all crazy. Like I am so over it at this point. I am so sick and tired of some of our black people.
Honestly, I don't even think about nothing. I don't think about anything. If it's not words or anything, at this point, it can't do anything to me. I know, the God put the ability and the power within me to not even think about nobody else's comments, not care. It is what it is. I spoke with him. He said, nah, bro, that wasn't. He said, that wasn't. He told me on the plane. He came up. He was like, nah, bro, that wasn't at you. I see how they trying to spin. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not tripping. Regardless of whatever it was, nobody's words or anything affects me, So, yeah.
So did you believe him when he told you it wasn't on you?
Did I believe him?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're trying to start stuff now. I feel like you're trying to start stuff. I mean, he's doing his job. He's supposed to. Do I feel like he did? I don't know. And that's not on me to sit here and be like, oh, he did it. That's not going to change my life in any way.
Exactly. He said that's not going to change his life in any way. Nobody gives a damn what Dylan's little ugly self said. He looks like one of the munchkins from the Wizard of Oz, okay? With his funny looking self. He was clearly throwing jabs at Shedeur, like I told you all. Because for one, the Oregon coach, when they played Colorado, that speech that he gave that went viral, what did he say? This will be played on the field. It won't be played in Hollywood. It won't be played for clicks and views. What do you think he was talking about? He was talking about Shedeur Sanders and his father Dion. Okay, and who was the quarterback on the team at the time that he said it? Well, Dylan Gabriel was. And that's where he got his talking points from. Okay, so please pay attention. At the end of the day, these people do not like a black man who is sure of himself, who is confident in himself, and who doesn't have to beg and grovel to them to get where he's trying to go. They don't like that.
If he would have fallen to the 7th round, right, the Steelers weren't drafting Shedeur Sanders.
Why?
Shedeur Sanders was not going to be picked by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whatever the evaluation was, whatever decision was made, he was not going to be the quarterback picked, drafted, called by Mike Tomlin.
Because of talent?
That's just further evidence, something other than football tainted Shedeur Sanders coming into that draft. Because there's no excuse for him to fall that low. And there's no reason why on earth why a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who's been starving to find a quarterback for years, Ryan Clark could come up here and say, even if it was the 7th round, they still wouldn't have picked them. That makes no football sense.
As much here what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source, And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
Really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't gonna draft him either.
That's a darn shame. That is a darn shame. And no disrespect to Joe Flacco, but that man, isn't he 40 years old? Isn't he 40 years old? Why would they have Shedeur starting? No shade to Joe Flacco, because like I told you all last week, he's the only one who seemed to be pleased or proud when Shedeur was on the field for the first preseason game. When you looked over at Dylan Gabriel, his face was salty. Okay, he's a whole hater. That's what I know. He's a whole hater. And Kevin Stefanski is a racist piece of shite, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is his sister, Deandra Sanders, and this is what she said about her brother.
It was very heartbreaking to see because it's like he works so hard, but it's still a blessing where he went because, God does everything. And if you read the verse about the 144th lamb and the Father, it all comes, correlation. So we just gonna be thankful that God knew what he was doing. But it was very heartbreaking to see in the beginning.
Prank call. When that prank call happened, how did you feel?
Oh my gosh.
People play too damn much.
Too much. And it's like, it was crazy because we was so excited. We was like, yay, like we all got together. And then when they was like, it was a prank call, we was like, what? He literally practices, trains, watch what he eat. Like he works very hard. So it was very heartbreaking to see that teams passed on him, not because of his talent. Because if you put the stats on the board, he should have been up here. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it real. So how did anybody even get that number? Like this is a whole new.
Dirty devils, okay? Dirty devils at the end of the day. And this is a common theme with the NFL. Okay? This is a common theme with the NFL. Chris says, Queen, you are blessed. You are blessed, one of the truth. Thank you, beloved. It's just so annoying that we keep seeing stuff like this happen over and over and over. And we sit here and complain, but nobody does anything. And this is why it continues to happen. These devils who are confederate against us don't give a darn about anything except blood and revenue. That's it, and that's all. How do you hit back at them? You hit them in their pockets. You hit them where it hurts. Okay? Look at Target. Look at Target. If we had the power to make them lose $12.4 billion, not million dollars, what do you think we can do to the NFL? Y'all need to wake up. That's what y'all need to do. Y'all need to wake up. With that all being said, let's get a word from Coach Prime. I need motivation.
Good day, God bless. I got a word for you. Stop caring so much about the things that really don't concern you. Stop caring so much about the people who talk about you, people who naysay you, people who doubt you, people who ridicule you, the people who hate on you for no reason at all. Stop caring so much. Do I look like a father? Do I look like a father? See what these dogs doing. I'm getting better, baby. I gotta get ready. I'm working hard. I'm looking good. I'm feeling good. I'm eating right. Body getting tight. This is gonna be a big year, baby.
Oh, I love Coach Prime. Chris, I'm sorry, I misread your comment. You said, Queen, you and Blessed One are the truth. Thank you, beloved. I love Blessed One. I actually love Blessed One. Okay, so now with that all being said, now let me just show y'all how hard they hate. I want y'all to see this. Check out this man's face and how he's side-eyeing Shedeur for no apparent reason. He can't stand to see this young man smiling, happy. They can't stand the fact that they can't break him and they can't shake him. And they talked about humbling him. You can't humble somebody who's already humbled. Okay? That's what you can't do.
Man, look at this punk ass.
Look at the guy back there in the suit. Watch him. The hate is all over his face. That is a darn shame. Okay? That is such a darn shame. Cannot stand it. It's really sad at the end of the day. And this is a common theme, like I said. Let me go to one more video, and then I'm out of here. Yes, Juju, the hate is real. It definitely is.
Seen me play ball in high school. She never seen me play ball in high school. Now I'm all state football. I'm all state basketball. And I'm drafted by the Kansas City Royals in baseball. But my mother never seen me play. So I could have utilized that to say, poor little old me, I have no support, I have no love, I have no one that has my back. But I flipped that. I said, you know what? Bless little old me. Because I'm going to be rich one day and I'm going to make a lot of money. My mama's never going to have to work another day in her life. So when it's time for her to see me play, she don't fly first class because that's what she wants. She's going to have on a neat coat if it's cold there or inclement weather. She's going to have several homes to her choosing. That's what I did. That's what I wanted. That's what was my goal. So when you talked about me, I didn't give a care. When you ridiculed me, I didn't care. When you mocked me, I didn't care at all. When you was upset with me, hard in Lee Memorial Hospital in Fort Myers, Florida, and I know she didn't want to do it, and she never seen me play. So that was my determination. That was my recognition of my why.
Are y'all tired yet? Are y'all tired yet? Because I sure am. I'm over it. Okay? I am literally over it. So anyway, that all been said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast. Yeah, that was very motivating. That's one of the things the Coach Prime does best. Motivates. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Listen, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. I hope to see you all later for the next live at 6 o'clock. Okay, make sure you tune in. We're going to be talking about trending topics and whatever nefariousness Trump has gotten his foolish self into. I want to see how he responds to Putin's airstrikes on that U.S. facility. Okay, so with that all been said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got